Listen to this. This is awesome. This is percentage less than estimated average requirements. Okay.
The shortfall.
The shortfall. So that's what we're looking at here. So if you look at potassium, this is when people, the USDA did this study, they surveyed a bunch of people and they did testing on these people to figure out where their deficiencies were. Okay. And the top one, potassium, 97% of people were well below the estimated average requirements. So well below. Okay. So they were well below by 97%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So fiber, I can't see it, our screens there. Fiber it's like 95, actually 95. Mm-hmm. So people had 95% less than they should have. Vitamin D, 94.3. There's choline. That's part of ATP, right? Krebs cycle. Spark has it. 91.7. So they had 91.7% less than the estimated average requirement for a healthy individual. Mm-hmm. So, and this is I got this off the USDA website. So potassium, it's critical for life. We need that stuff, right? Fiber, eliminating toxins, absorb vital nutrients from food. And the average person needs 25 to 35 grams of fiber. And that's so from my experience, when I'm tracking on MyFitnessPal and making people track, people are usually 10% or 10 grams less than they should be, at least. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the list goes on. So we got fiber, we got vitamin D deficiency. It's linked to a bunch of things, mm-hmm. right? Choline, it's an important neurotransmitter, muscle mm-hmm. control, all kinds of stuff. So you can get by without having optimal levels of these, but are you going to be your best? Mm-hmm. Are you going to heal your body if you have some maladies that you want to, mm-hmm. Improve on? Whether you're tired or you need to lose weight or to build muscle or to tone up or, you gotta get to a baseline.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool to think of it on that level too, because, and for those of you that listened to that part of the estimated average requirement and it didn't make very much sense, what basically that list is, it's some of the most important micronutrients that we need as a part of our diet, and we are deficient at those levels. So we're falling way below what our bodies need for just an average requirement on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And so when he talks about all those comorbidities and the fact that like choline and vitamin D and those kinds of things for me as a woman, especially, I know that vitamin D is an important part of adrenal health. And when I have a lot of women coming to me and talking about adrenal health and adrenal fatigue and they want hormones to explain why things aren't changing or why things aren't happening like they want to happen. Mm-hmm. When a lot of times it could be something as simple as taking your vitamin D. And when I ask across the board, most people are not taking a vitamin D supplement, you know. In the summer, it's one thing because you obviously get it from the sun, mm-hmm. In an absorbable form, but how much sun do we get a year? So knowing that something like vitamin D can cause all of that stuff, and I don't know if it says adrenal fatigue in there somewhere, but
depression.
Depression, the seasonal affective disorder mm-hmm. and things like that all cause mm-hmm. our emotional changes and our hormonal changes. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy to think that a basic vitamin mm-hmm. can actually do us so much good.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm Luke and this is my friend Jackie.
Hello.
We're going to show you a couple things to do to make sure your glutes are active, because your glutes are a very important muscle in your body. If you want to increase your metabolism and burn fat better, having an opportunity to build muscles in your glutes is important because it's a big muscle, right? So if you can increase the muscle in your glutes a little bit, that could contribute to overall gain in skeletal muscle mass and overall gain in metabolism. So listen close. We're going to show you two things to think about to make sure your glutes are rocking and rolling. So number one is your squat. We're going to do an overhead squat. So our arms are going to go up, and go ahead and squat, Jackie. And as she squats down, you want to try to have your spine and your shins parallel. Okay? So spine and shins should be parallel at the bottom of the squat. So that looks great. Nice job, Jackie. So come on up. Okay, so give me like 5 of those squats. So thinking about that now, imagine if her body were to lean forward, okay? And she's got a bar on her back, okay? So as her spine leans forward, her spine and her shin no longer do a bad one. So no longer are parallel. Spine and shin are no longer parallel. Now what that does is it takes pressure off the glutes, it puts more pressure on your lower back, okay? And the muscles in your lower back just aren't gonna, they're not gonna like grow, they're not gonna increase in strength and size. Okay, second one is maybe you have something called glute amnesia. Maybe your glutes literally don't fire. And it could be a combination. So you might have that forward lean because you have weaker glutes. That could be part of it. Or it could be like with the overhead squat, your mechanics could be just off, right? You just need to tweak that a little bit. But like I said, a lot of people have weak glutes, and that comes from, or just complete shut down glutes. That happens because of a life of being sedentary and being seated, you know, for a big portion of your life. Shuts down your glutes. So I'm going to show you how to get your glutes to fire. All right. So now the first thing you want to do in order to fire your glutes properly is you got to realize that your hips are very important in getting your glutes to fire. So before you do it, show us a glute bridge, Jackie. So a glute bridge is a great exercise to fire your glutes, right? But sometimes it doesn't happen that way. So sometimes when people do a glute bridge, they feel it. So go ahead, Jackie, come on up. Sometimes people feel it more in the hamstring. Sometimes people feel it more in the quad. Sometimes people feel it more in the lower back. And it happens.
It's not on my neck.
And now if you're squatting and doing deadlifts or we're doing all of those fun lifts, you want your glutes to help with you.
Yes.
And if your glutes are shut down, it's going to be, you're not going to have as great of experience doing those fun lifts because your biggest helper's not there. So now let's dial in your glutes. So maybe get your feet scooted closer to your body.
Are we going back to the leg
Now
extension?
before she lifts her hips up, I want you to flatten your back out. So you're literally I'm gonna put my hand underneath her back, and I want her to squeeze her back to the ground, which is perfect. Now I'm gonna have you relax a second, okay, and arch your back up. All right, now flatten it again. Now do this a few times. Do it again. Arch your back and flatten it. So do that a few times and just realize that, yeah, her back is flattening, but it's because of her hips. Her hips are rotating backwards and flattening her back to the ground. That's step one. So step one is back flat. Squeeze my hand. Step two is going to be that lift your hips off the ground. As you lift your hips, continue to force your hips into that same direction. Use the same muscles that it took to flatten your back out at the top of your glute bridge. And that will help your brain fire your glutes more efficiently. And do this a few times a day. And as long as you have a floor at home, you can do this. So if you feel like your glutes that they're never sore, if they're never fatigued, chances are your glutes aren't firing the way they should. So consider an effective glute bridge every day.
My specialty is bicep curls.
Yeah, my specialty are traps. Traps. Used to be.
Thank you, Harry and Lloyd. Well said. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 different options for multivitamins. The multivitamin world it's a vast and deep and dark place. There's a lot going on, lots of cans of worms that can be opened. So I'm going to kind of break it down to 3 main categories. There's actually 4 options. So the one of the option is not take a multivitamin. That's an option. Okay, not a lot of people take a multivitamin. If you are a person that takes vitamin D is great. It's important to take extra vitamin D, but that's not considered a multivitamin. A multivitamin would be considered having multivitamins and multimineral. So it's going to be more complex, filling a lot of nutritional gaps. So there's 3 ways to get it. Number 1 is going to be no particular order. Number 1 is going to be a gummy form. So gummy multivitamins are typically include sugar, so they taste okay. Some of them include fish oil, which is kind of nice. But they typically have much less to offer than the typical tablet multivitamin. So out of the 3 options here is probably my least favorite, but it's better than nothing. So if you can't stomach a normal tablet form of a gummy is just fine. So that's one option. Another option would be to have a tablet form. So the tablet form is great. These are going to fill a lot of nutritional gaps and get you much fulfillment The next level up would be pack vitamins. So as you can see here, I have M&S Omni, and the M&S Omni, you're going to see a multivitamin. You're going to see a fish oil. You're going to see some calcium and magnesium. You're also going to see a light thermogenic along with a probiotic. So the multi-packs is going to have multiple metabolic pathways to get more nutrition fulfillment out of it. Another option here too is this is a more advanced pack. This is called Core, M&S Core by Advocare. And in this is a multivitamin. You're going to have a calcium and magnesium, 2 of those. You're going to have digestive enzymes. You're going to have a probiotic, and you're going to have an advanced cardiovascular capsule as well. Find something that works for you, and you might start with the gummies, and then as you progress, you might move on up to something a little more advanced like a nutrition multi-pack. So hopefully this is helpful, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.